Hi everyone, Comic Book Reviewer here, this time reviewing on issue 1 of Star Wars Princess Leia. Now, as you know, Star Wars Princess Leia was meant to be the early start of the whole Disney, Marvel, Star Wars continuity, and keep in mind after Disney bought Star Wars, of course, they would clear the board, start again, and bring it back to Marvel to do their own comic book launch. And the cover mainly has Princess Leia looking all badass, so let's get on with the story. And of course, it's meant to take place after Episode 4, where Luke and Han get their medals, and of course, Leia having to speak about all the people lost on Alderaan, as well as the casualties and that during the whole battle with the Death Star. And they know right away, now that the Death Star has been destroyed, the Empire know their location and need a sort of new outpost. And this is obviously General Dodona knowing just how vital it is to find a new potential outpost, and him saying, "All of you are valuable, no? The Alliance lives on. Fight on! To your station, and may the Force be with us all." And we kind of see how right away, obviously everyone getting ready, we kind of see how Luke makes a awkward talk, and I feel like this does feel a little cringy, but right away we see how Leia notices one of these sort of pilots looking at the statues of Leia's parents and knows something's not right. And we see how right away Admiral Bagbar is saying, "Move it along! Soldiers, the clock is ticking. Every moment we dwindle beckons the targets on our backs. Let's go!" And we see how Leia wants to kind of talk with General Dodona, but we kind of see how Admiral Akbar is too busy, but tries to make some preparations. But we kind of see how Leia wants to find any other people from Alderaan, as well as any possible survivors. And we see how General Dodona makes a justified point that obviously after what happened with the whole Empire and everything, if Leia basically sets one foot off the planet, not only is she going to be a walking target, but also a kind of easy prey. And it's clear the Empire are also looking for any surviving people from Alderaan to sort of set an example. And this is Leia getting annoyed and furious. And we see how right away two rebel pilots obviously badmouth Leia and saying, "I know, I've never been to Fenvolia." Princess! "Soldier, you're needed elsewhere. Where? I don't care." "Your Majesty." And we see how right away Leia wants to know more about Avon, and her sort of saying, "To pay my respects. Proper respects." What was that? I didn't quite hear that. "Nothing, my lady." But we kind of see how she points out that she obviously was from Alderaan and knew more about Leia's mother. And after kind of getting into an argument with her, they know right away they need to find the other possible survivors. And this is obviously Leia and Avon coming to terms not only as teammates, but also potential friends. And we see how back on Yavin 4, General Dodona gets woken up, wonders what R2's doing here, but obviously Princess Leia basically defying General Dodona's orders, and right away figures that Leia's now off planet, and they try to make a break for it to find any possible people left from Alderaan. And we see right away that Luke and Wedge have been sent to try and stop Leia, but of course they have to kind of play it smart, try to use some tactics, and use a bogus hyperdrive to make it look convincing. And right away, they basically fall for the oldest trick in the book. And of course, they mainly set off for their first planet to find any other people from Alderaan, one of which being Naboo, the home of Queen Amidala, and the starting point of the whole Trade Federation joining the whole Clone Wars thing with the separatist movement and getting to work on finding the first people there. And this is the story. So I think this one is kind of okay, but it's there to try and do something new with their continuity. And I think what made Dark Horse Comics as well as Battlefront 2 work was because, one, after the whole Death Star destruction in Battlefront 2, it made clear what remains of the 501st joining the Empire made it more personal, and knowing that these veterans were basically humiliated by basically younger, more experienced pilots. I think what stories like Star Wars Empire got right at was that, one, obviously, Imperial commanding officer wanted revenge on Darth Vader for what happened to Alderaan. There was still repercussions from Episode 4. Here, it's trying to fit something new. It's something basic, but it still deserves a thumbs up. Still good, and still okay. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.